Hello BookTube, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth and it's day 3 of October VEDO, and I'm doing a video every day this month, and also it's the 3rd day of the Cozyathon. And I told you on October 1st that I'm going to do one challenge each day for the Cozyathon. Now I didn't mention that in yesterday's video because I posted a video yesterday that I had filmed prior to deciding that I was going to do a video every day in October and Cozyathon, so that's why I didn't mention it. Now yesterday's Cozyathon challenge was to read a book in the bathtub. So I read a chapter and a little more of Oliver's Story by Eric Siegel, and I read it in the bathtub. It was kind of weird. I don't usually do anything like that, but it was kind of cool. So I, if nothing else, just to soak my feet, which it can be a nice treat sometimes. So it's not something I'm gonna do very often, but you know, the one thing good about any kind of challenge is it takes you out of your comfort zone. So and it, you know, it introduces you to things that you might not otherwise do. So that's kind of cool. Now today's challenge is to read a book entirely by candlelight. Now I won't be able to get an entire book read by candlelight, but I will start one and I will just continue to work on it throughout the Cozyathon and hopefully have it done by the end of that time. So I am going to read Bedlam Lost by my friend Jack Castle. It's only about 180 something pages, and it also is a book that I have on my Kindle. So if the candlelight is not giving me enough light to see by to read, then I'll be able to read it on my Kindle, which is backlit, and still technically, you know, read by candlelight. So moving on to the main idea for my video today is to show you the part of my summer book haul that is nonfiction. I also have about 3 that I would consider classics. So I'm putting those in this video as well. Now, I mentioned before that all of that big windfall of books that we got at the beginning of the summer, a lot of them were Christian nonfiction, and those are going to be in a separate haul. These are just the secular, not necessarily Christian, just random nonfiction books. I have several that are self-help, a few memoir, autobiography type books, and just a couple of random things. So let me get started. I'll show you the classics first. I did not realize that The Prince of the Pauper was written by Mark Twain. I don't know who I thought wrote it, but it turns out it's Mark Twain. So I picked this up at my own local library at their book sale. I also got a copy of Watership Down. I've heard a couple of people talking about this recently. I don't know if I'm going to like this. For some reason, I always want to get this mixed up with The Wind in the Willows, and I know that it has nothing to do with that. So I was just curious about it. And then I picked up a book by Willa Cather called Oh Pioneers. I don't know anything about her, but I heard Emily Sears talking about Willa Cather on her channel, and I am interested to see what her books are like. Then I got another book. This is one I may give to my husband, and this is probably technically not nonfiction, but it's historical Florida fiction, and it has enough real things in it that I'm including it with this haul. And it's called Florida Gold by Robert Allen Morris, and it is about the turpentine camps in North Florida, 1915. So it should be really interesting, and since we live in Florida, I thought that this is something he might be interested in. So now, moving on then, one of my favorite types of nonfiction are organizing books, and then other self-help books that kind of fit in that same or similar categories. So I found in, now, I should say, I think the rest of these books now were all free to me. The majority of them came in the big windfall of books that we received from the storage facility after their auction. All these books were left behind in this one unit, and we had like 30 bins of books. If you haven't seen a video yet where I talked about that, these all came free. Now, a couple of them I might have gotten a couple of other places, but the majority of all the rest of these now came from that source. Now, there were 3 books by Sandra Felton, who is known as the Organizer Lady. I have a few of her books, but I don't think I have any of these. The Messy's Manual, The Procrastinator's Guide to Good Housekeeping, Messy No More, Practical Steps to Put the Messy Lifestyle Behind You, And The Messie's Super Guide, Strategies and Ideas for Conquering Catastrophic Living. And now I may have other editions of these books. I haven't actually compared it with my shelf, but if I do have identical copies of any of these, then I'll pass these on to someone else. Then along that same line, I got 10-Minute Clutter Control by Sky Alexander. Easy Feng Shui Tips for Getting Organized. Here's a really old one. A Neat Desk is a Sign of a Sick Mind by Mab Graf Hoover. And this is actually a Christian book because the subtitle says, And Other Tales of Being a Christian in a Secular Office. So that's interesting. And then kind of going out from the organizing theme, but still kind of the self-help theme. Don't Sweat the Small Stuff for Women, Simple and Practical Ways to Do What Matters Most and Find Time for You by Christine Carlson. Then we have 30 Days to a Simpler Life. Connie Cox and Chris Avett are the authors of that. It says they are also the authors of Simply Organized. The Procrastinator's Handbook, Mastering the Art of Doing It Now by Rita Emmett. And I think I've seen this one before. It's called Fish, A Remarkable Way to Boost Morale and Improve Results by Stephen C. London, PhD, Harry Paul, and John Christensen. If you know anything about any of these, let me know. The only author I'm familiar with is Sandra Felton. I do have a few of her other books, and I've read her, and I do enjoy her writing and her principles and ideas. Okay, now this one is, I believe, a little inspirational book of short stories that has a knitting theme. It's called Knitting Lessons by Layla Nargi. It says it's Tales from the Knitting Path, but it's not actual lessons on how to knit. It's like lessons you can learn from knitting, like life lessons. So this looks really neat, and I think I'm going to enjoy this one. Then this one is something that I've read before. I had to get it through interlibrary loan because no library in our county has it. It's been around quite a while now, but this it's called Say Goodbye to Illness by Devi Namboodirpad, and NAET stands for Namboodirpad's Allergy Elimination Technique, and we have a homeopathic doctor in our county, in the next town over, that we've been going to now since my daughter Emily was 5, and he uses this technique, and it has changed our lives. This is an allergy elimination technique that does not use any needles or anything like that. It's all done through muscle response testing. So I'm really excited to have my own copy of this book. It's just really a fantastic concept, and I couldn't believe that it was in this bunch of books that we got. I was so excited to have it. And a couple of memoirs, actually one more in the self-help genre. This is actually just a little tape, a cassette tape, Walking Fitness Program. It says Walk with Your Doc by Dr. Art Uline and Dr. James Rip. And I think it was probably originally designed for maybe walking with your little Walkman that was a cassette player, and I may still have one of those around here somewhere. If it still works, then maybe we'll listen to it in that, or I'll just listen to it and see what kind of ideas they have for a walking fitness program. All right, so 2 other memoirs. I have Prairie Tale by Melissa Gilbert. I think I got this out of our little free library, and I am excited about this. I think her and I are very close to the same age. Of course, I grew up watching her grow up on Little House on the Prairie. I have met her at one time at my theme park job when her little boy was maybe 4, and he was doing a character meet and greet, and I happened to be in the vicinity, and so it was just really exciting to get to meet her. So that I'm really looking forward to reading. And then I got Leonard Nimoy's I Am Spock. I am a big Star Trek fan. I have always enjoyed Star Trek from the very first series all the way up to the present. I'm not up on all of the newest stuff, but I do think I would enjoy reading this. So that is all for this haul. Like I said, I do have some more nonfiction that will be all Christian based. Some of it is humorous, some of it is theological, and that will be in a separate video. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.